and ain't no wannabes here. With some not so nice advice for your writing career. To be clear, no punches will be pulled, but the punch may be spiked. How they like before they get on the mic. To my left, we got the mighty Mer Lafferty. And if I piss her off, believe me, she'll come after me. And her co-host, Matt Evan Wallace, on the right. Yes, she may be half as hype as she can take him in a fight. So settle in, folks, buckle in and boot up. Time to meddle in a way to make your writer shut up. It's hard work, but the perk is that it's fun and exciting. Facebook will still be there when you're done writing. Ditch Diggers! Ditch Diggers!
Coming to you super live, both of us in stereo, from Morgan Freeman's Outside OBGYN. It's the Ditch Diggers! We got two spit takes over here on the side. It's the Ditch Diggers with Mer Lafferty and Matt Wallace. We are here in person, both of us.
Together.
Hooray!
We're not actually here for you. We're not here at the OBGYN for you. We're here for me.
That's right.
For my
that's
uterus.
Right. We promised we would do an episode involving Matt's uterus. I don't remember exactly why. I think I asked you to stop talking about my uterus.
I was not.
No.
I was not talking about your uterus. Other people were talking about your uterus, and you wanted them to stop. And your idea to get them to stop was to tell them to talk about my uterus instead, which I agreed to.
That was a great idea.
Which I agreed to, by the way.
Yes.
Because I'm a good friend.
You are a good friend. You're a great friend. We are in our yearly retreat to the backwoods of Ohio where there is no cell signal, no internet. Lots of friends, some bugs, a castle.
Loud children.
A lot of booze, loud children.
Which you will hear in the background.
The booze?
No, the loud children.
Right. And,
to get some clinking glasses going. We should have brought booze.
I brought booze.
Oh, you brought booze. I brought water.
Oh, you're doing it wrong.
Hydration is important, Mar.
I understand that. Maybe I'll do hydration later. Maybe.
Maybe we'll do a hydration episode.
No.
All about hydration.
Well, you know, it's a good segue because we're about to talk about the care and feeding of your author.
The care and feeding of your author, yes, it's a very important subject that was suggested by my fiance 5 minutes ago.
Yes. The ditch diggers have got to get the work done, but the best way to get the work done is to make sure that the ditch digging tools, including hands and mind and eyes and muscles and digestive systems and sphincters and...
I'm just going to be quiet because I want to see how far you can go listing body parts before you start to drown. Lungs.
The lungs? Yeah. All those are useful and important, and unfortunately a lot of people don't consider that. They think they must write and get astonished when their health fails and they can't write anymore.
Yeah, it actually is an issue. And I think we talked about mental health a little bit on the show before. I don't know that we've talked about physical health.
Not really, but I got a cut on my finger I just discovered, and I'm unhappy about that.
It's because you're method, Mer. You're
That's
like,
right.
we're gonna do an
yes.
episode about writers jeopardizing their health. I'm gonna bleed for this.
That's right.
Literally. You're not bleeding?
No, not quite.
All right, I guess you're not method then. I gave you too much
method.
credit. I'm so method. I grew a uterus for this episode. That's how
Where
far
do you put
I
it?
to go. That's a very good question. I keep it in the glove compartment of my car.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do you have your car here? I thought you rented.
I did rent, but it's back home. I don't bring my uterus on vacation. I'm here to have fun. Can't have fun with a uterus.
What? Every woman at the table is looking at Matt like he's insane.
The thing about that
there are 3 uteri at the table.
Before I said
4 with yours, but yours isn't here.
I knew it was a terrible idea. And then that was just confirmed by you, your daughter, and my fiance all giving me the same look. And of course they're right. It was a terrible thing to say. It was wrong.
I think my husband's giving you about the same
Jim,
look.
yeah,
What's wrong with you?
Much more enlightened than I am. So yes, of course you can have fun with a uterus. I can't because I have nowhere to fit it. That's really the problem. You have places to put yours. It's not about the uterus itself. It's more about the convenience of carrying it around. I feel we've talked about this too much already.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
But no, you can have fun with a uterus.
Exactly.
Yes, I was just to clarify. But no, it's I think you already kind of hit on the key point is we emphasize the work so much as writers. You know, a writer writes always. You got to write every day, or you're not a real writer.
No, we don't say that.
No, I'm
We've
saying
already covered that.
I'm saying all this. We cover all the stupid shit that people say about writing,
Yeah.
and those attitudes do exist. And totally lost my train of thought.
Oh, it's funny. I just think that Jason was trying to keep them away, and
He was.
inadvertently he drove them toward us.
I think Jason forgot what he was trying to do, and now he's just playing with them.
Okay.
That's the problem. And I love him to death because that's the kind of person he
He's
is.
trying. He's awesome.
He is filled with boundless enthusiasm.
Yes.
It's actually remarkable and tiring to watch.
So, the thing is, and it's almost a romantic thing, especially, and I think this is the fault of
Falsely romantic.
Hemingway and Poe's fault. I'm gonna blame
fuck
them.
Hemingway.
I'm not there yet. I'm saying that
I'm
it's
sorry,
their
that was
fault to romanticize the whole. You know, you work so hard and you get so. You do the alcoholism and the depression and eventually, you know, the dying in the gutter in a very romantic way. And I'm pretty sure when, you know, Hemingway killed himself and Poe died in the gutter, they were not thinking, I'm a romantic author, look at me suffering.
Probably wasn't their last thought,
No. But that's how a lot of people look. And they're just like, if I want to be like Hemingway, I got to do this. If I want to be like Poe, I got to do this. And they don't think, hey, if I want to be a healthy working writer, I got to go to bed and get 8 hours of sleep.
It's true. I need some hot tea and a nap. That's never romanticized in Hunter S.
No.
Thompson's fiction.
And really, it should be, because that's how...
Self-care.
It's self-care.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yes, I like to drink, but drinking and writing just do not go hand in hand for me, because, like, once I start drinking, I'm just like, I'm going to relax now. I'm not going to worry about writing.
It's the last thing you want to do when you start
Exactly.
boozing it up, yeah. No, it's true. I've never had alcohol while working, ever. I mean, I've had Mott's for Tots apple juice. That's kind of my thing, because it's made for toddlers, so it has extra vitamins in it and more purified water. So that's what I recommend. If you need to have that feeling of like having a glass of scotch by you, I recommend Mott's for Tots apple juice, because it has kind of the same, you know, you can pick it up out of the tumbler and drink it. You feel like a badass.
It doesn't make me want to vomit.
Yeah,
The scotch does.
and instead of destroying your liver and your relationships, it gets you your daily allotted amount of vitamins. And I'm being totally serious.
I
about
know,
this, by
I
the way.
know.
I really, Mott's for Tots is my thing, and it's well documented on Twitter.
I have not seen this on Twitter at all, but I've been staying away from it.
Yeah, well, you've been selective about Twitter, which I respect. It's probably a much better idea. I'm on Twitter way too much.
Also,
Thank you for that, Fiona.
my daughter would like to point out that we are not sponsored by Mott's for Tots at all.
We are not sponsored. We should be. I should hit them up and get some cash from them. You know what? It's a good product. I don't mind shilling it. It's gotten me through a lot.
You gotta say when you're not sponsored, and that means that the love is truly there.
It is. It's truly there. My fiance got it for me when I was sick once. It healed me. It wants to heal you, Mer. The Mott's for Tots wants to heal you.
Okay.
But yeah, you can't, you don't need to drink your dinner and chain smoke when you're... That's another thing. That actually reminds me of, I read a book by Joe Esterhaus, once a screenwriter. I don't know if you're familiar. He wrote, he's kind of notorious. He wrote Basic Instinct.
Okay.
He wrote Showgirls. And he's mostly remembered for that, and he's kind of a dick. But he also wrote a lot of actually really good films. He's a very, very underrated writer in reflection.
Jim is nodding. Are you agreeing with the talent or the dick or both?
He's a dick. Yeah,
Jim's
he's an
agreeing
absolute
that he's
dick.
a dick. Okay.
But this actually kind of feeds into that. And he wrote this. This was a book written later in his life. He wrote for years. He hated the militant anti-smoking thing by liberals or whoever is supposed to be militantly anti-smoking. So not only did he write his character smoking, he would chain smoke while he wrote and drink heavily.
That showed those liberals, didn't
it? Did, I know. He was living the life, man. He was living the hard drinking, brilliant author life and making millions of dollars doing it.
How's he doing now?
He got larynx cancer and had to have 60% of his throat scraped out, basically. So, every morning he hacks up phlegm for an hour before he can do anything else, and doesn't smoke anymore, obviously.
Well, good.
But he freely admits, he was like, that was a dumb thing to do for really dumb reasons. So if you're smoking, as you're a writer and you're smoking, quit. And also, don't show your character smoking, because you're just perpetuating that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where romanticizing that kind of crap, gets you.
It's funny. I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago, and I got saw a couple of Stephen King books from the '80s that I'd read as a child or as a teen, and hadn't read since. And I got all nostalgic, and so I got Skeleton Crew, which is a short story compilation,
I
and
remember it well.
Different Seasons, which is a collection of 4 novellas, and I learned so much more reading them as an adult than I did as a teen. When I was reading as a teen, it's like there was just reading a good story and feeling kind of awkward here and there about some of the ways he wrote some things.
Right.
And now as an adult, I'm like, wow, he did not like women. And you know what? Almost every one of his characters have 2 sons. And the character likes one of them a whole lot. And the other one not so much. Almost every single character has this issue. And almost every one of his characters drinks in the episode, and often before they go off and do something like driving.
Right.
And then some of the characters drink and quote-unquote sweat it all out so they never get drunk.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that's not the way you metabolize alcohol.
No, I mean, I think it's a popular myth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you read on writing, you'll learn a lot about how Stephen King was dealing with alcoholism and family problems at the time. I think the family problems were,
Stemmed from the
the
alcoholism. And the drug abuse. He was a big drug user, too.
Yes.
No, a lot of his books from the time were very thinly veiled metaphors for addiction.
Yeah.
You know? And I've read him talk about that too. And of all the stories he tells, and you should read On Writing, especially the biographical part. I enjoyed that the most.
Me too.
I don't like books telling me how to write, but I like books about writing.
Yeah, the memoir is very interesting.
Yeah, the memoir is very interesting. But the thing that struck me the most is he talks about there's an entire book he wrote that he doesn't remember writing.
Is that the Tommyknockers?
I think it was Cujo that he doesn't remember.
Cujo,
writing.
okay.
He wrote Tommyknockers about being on cocaine.
Okay.
Anyway, but he said he reads that book now and he really wishes he could remember writing the good parts of it. He wishes he could remember having that fun. And that really struck a chord, man. The idea that you write a whole book and you don't have any memory of that whole time.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I would put forth, it just doesn't extend to the book. That had to extend to everything happening around the book.
Yeah.
And the time you write a book, that's a huge chunk of your life.
Yeah.
So to not be able to remember that is just that really got to me. And if I'd ever thought that I needed drugs to be a better writer, that would have cured me of it alone right there. Not that I ever did. I never had that. I had the good fortune of being a wrestler first. That's really the thing. I came from pro wrestling where everybody was strung out on something and a bunch of people were dying. So when I was actually militantly anti-substances when I was a wrestler. I didn't drink. I didn't even like doing aspirin. I was just
doing
aspirin.
Do some aspirin.
I know, but seriously, that's how paranoid I got about it, because I saw really awful shit, and it wasn't just people abusing illegal stuff. It was mostly legal painkillers and muscle relaxers. I can name so many people who died of muscle relaxers, and that's just so ridiculous. But that's why it made me really paranoid. I'm like, well, if you can die on muscle relaxers, maybe I shouldn't take Advil. I obviously do.
God.
I was young. I obviously do now, and I do indulge in alcohol when I want to relax. But that gave me an early perspective on doing that kind of stuff. And then by the time I started writing and kind of got exposed to that whole romanticizing substances around writing, I knew that was bullshit just right off, because I dealt with that in another profession. And it's shocking to me that people would still be susceptible to this, but the truth is new writers don't know anything. Yeah. And we forget that a lot. So.
Well, that's why I still try to say the same things over and over again, because you've got people who will take, we talked about it last time, the people who take there's only one way to write.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And if you're doing X, then you're clearly not a writer, and stuff like that.
And if you idolize a certain writer, like many people still idolize Hemingway, I don't fucking know why, but a lot of people still do, you feel like you have to live like him to write like him.
Well, there's not a lot. I mean, big game hunting is still a thing, I suppose.
True.
World War I, not so much.
Not so much.
Was it one he was in? Or two? I forget.
I think it was one.
Hemingway. World War I. Spanish Civil War.
Spanish Civil War, really?
Okay. He was an ambulance driver or something? Yeah. Hated Gertrude Stein.
never for a second occurred to me Jim wouldn't know that. I like how we both just immediately went
Of
to...
course.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, he's a very smart man. I just
know.
enjoy that. But yeah, and I'll... So yeah, but the thing is, it's not just drugs and alcohol. It goes way beyond that with taking care of yourself when you're a writer. And I'll get a little personal here. My thing is food. That's what I've always struggled with. You know, I am an overweight person. And since January, my fiance and I, we've been doing Weight Watchers, you know, trying to get in shape. We're getting married in November. We're planning our lives, and, you know, the weight is a huge deal. And my fiance lost her father very suddenly, who was in much better shape than we were in his 60s, and that jarred us very much. And so we've been taking it much more seriously, you know. And that's another thing is you can say stuff like, well, I'm adamantly against drinking, I'm adamantly against drugs, and have a great attitude about that. But then you can also eat like crap and not really monitor that and not really think about it because you don't think of that as being something that's detrimental to your health like booze and alcohol is. But it can do just as much damage, if not more damage. Yeah. You know.
And you know, the same thing with not sleeping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is I know a lot of people who think that they want to be late night writers, but then they also have a life where they need to get up with kids or for a day job or for school, so they go to bed late, they get up early, and that does damage to you that you may not see until far down the road, but it'll do it.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And there's like damage that what is it? If you are too sleep deprived, you are acting, at least legally, or driving as if you were drunk.
That's true.
And that's totally not safe. And I know that there have been times when I've been tired and I write, and essentially my characters are really tired and don't know what to do.
So you're being like Stephen King, but with sleep instead of drugs and alcohol.
Exactly. I'm just like, I'm reading this scene I just wrote going, I should just probably go to bed. I need a break. So,
Meanwhile, you've literally just written your character saying, I'm really tired and I need a break.
Yeah, I've done it.
God.
All right, folks, I am sorry to report this, but a recent episode of I Should Be Writing explains this and further, but essentially I was unprepared and did not realize my disk was full and did not have anywhere to put the excess data in my portable recorder. So as we were recording, I looked down and saw that the disc was full, and it got full right at the point where you just heard. So I'm sorry. Matt and I will revisit this topic in another time and come up with a couple of other things. But we had so much fun doing this, we figured we would give you what we had. So to tie up the show the usual way, you can see the blog and show notes at merverse.com. On Twitter, we are Mighty Mer and Matt F.N. Wallace. I am merverse.com. Matt is matt-wallace.com. My books are Six Wakes and the upcoming I Should Be Writing, and Matt's are Rancor and the Sin du Jour series. And I don't talk about this much, but I am the co-editor of Escape Pod again. So if you enjoy short science fiction for free in audio form, check out escapepod.org, and you'll hear stories that were chosen by me. And lastly, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/mightymer. Yes, it is under my name, but Matt does get a cut, so you're helping us both out when you give to the Patreon. In 2 weeks, we'll be coming back with a much more structured and put together show. I will mention that Hugo voting closes very soon, so if you haven't voted and you're eligible, please, please, please vote. We are nominated. We are finalists for Best Fan Cast. There are a lot of good other episodes or podcasts up for the award, but hopefully you'll like ours the best. And I think that's everything. Even though I do my own solo show, it's hard to do this part of the show without Matt, because I'm used to having him here. But we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Keep writing and fighting the good fight. You can support us at patreon.com/mightymer.
Ditch Diggers!
Theme song by Devo Spice. DevoSpice.com.